Welcome and greetings to all. I am Shenlong Pendragon, the Lore Master. So a quick disclaimer, I do not own any of the images or the story used in this video. The credit for these all belong to their original sources. So a brief introduction before we start. I am going to discuss and tell a series of stories from a variety of mythologies, ranging from Celtic to Roman to ancient Greek. Could even cover the ancient Egyptians and stories from the Orient as well. If you guys have any questions or if you have a specific story you'd like me to do, then please do leave that in the comments section. I'd love to hear your guys' input. So the first story I'm going to be telling you guys is the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. This is a classic British story. It stems from Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, whom I'm sure we all know. If you want, I can go into that story in more detail later on, but I might need to cut it down to a bit because there's a lot in that one legend. Anyway, I quite enjoyed this particular story. It's one I grew up with as a child. I first heard it when I was quite young, maybe about 8, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it as much as I did. Our story begins on a cold midwinter's night in the kingdom of Camelot. There Arthur sat, surrounded by his loyal Knights of the Round Table, eagerly awaiting the meal that was to be arriving from the kitchens. Arthur turned to his court wizard, Merlin, and proclaimed, "Let us have a tale, Merlin. Come, tell us a story." However, before the old man could rise, there arose such a clatter from the gates that all heads turned to see what the commotion was. Winter's chill flooded the great hall as the doors burst open. Among the swirling specks of white snow came a dark shadow. Then there was the clattering of hooves, and a man dressed all in green rode into the great hall of Camelot. The stranger surveyed the room, allowing the knights to examine him properly. He was a knight, armoured from head to toe in the green of a forest in spring. Even his horse, hair and skin were green. In one hand he held a mighty battle-axe. In the other he held a mistletoe branch, sacred to the Celtic people. "I have heard that the Knights of Camelot are the bravest in the land. Come, who would accept my challenge? Take my axe and cut off my head with a single blow." The knights all shared a look. What kind of madman would ride into the middle of Camelot and request to have his head cut off? He surely must be a lunatic. The Green Knight smiled. "There is indeed a catch to this challenge. In 1 year's time, you will permit me to offer you the same courtesy. Allow me to chop off your head in 1 year with a single blow." The knights once again shared a look, now convinced that this was either a trap or a curse. The Green Knight boomed with laughter at their hesitation. "So then, are the stories of the Knights of Camelot false? Is none here brave enough to accept my challenge?" King Arthur slammed his fist on the table as he rose. "How dare you, vagabond! You ride into my home and make light of my knights. I will not tolerate it. I, King Arthur, accept your challenge." It was then that Sir Gawain rose from his place. "My liege, the Pendragon must not undertake such a challenge. It could very well be an attempt on your life, sir. Please allow me, Sir Gawain, to represent the king and accept the challenge on your behalf." Still fuming, Arthur nodded to Gawain, pleased to see that one of his knights had been brave enough to stand up when it counted. The Green Knight dismounted his horse and offered his axe to Gawain. "At least one of you was brave enough," he said. "Here, Gawain, take my axe. One blow. You may have one blow to strike off my head." The Green Knight knelt on the floor as if he was at the headsman's block. With effort, Gawain lifted the heavy axe over his head and brought it down. It cleaved the Green Knight's head off with a single strike. Everyone present expected the decapitated trunk of the Green Knight to collapse. However, to their horror, he stood up, and from the floor his head boomed with laughter. "Well done, Gawain, a mighty blow indeed." The head was lifted by its body and placed under its arm. The Green Knight then mounted his horse and took his axe back from Gawain. "Remember, in 1 year's time, I will attempt the same. Meet me at the Green Tower, Gawain, where we will test your mettle." Laughing, the Green Knight rode from Camelot, amid the silence he left behind. At the appointed time, Arthur saw Gawain off personally. "My friend, you've been with me from the beginning, ever since our first war with the Saxons. Godspeed. Come home soon, and come home safe. I do not wish to lose one of my most trusted advisors and friends." Gawain bowed his head to Arthur. "I will not fail you, sire. I shall return soon." Arthur watched Gawain ride out into the harsh winter, unsure if he'd ever see him again. Gawain stopped at every village and inn he came across, asking for directions and seeking food and shelter. He wasn't sure if he was on the right trail, but followed the villagers' directions anyway. After all, he had no better lead. After many days and nights had passed, he was about ready to give up. However, to his delight, he saw a fortress not far away. Eagerly he rode to the gates and banged on them loudly. As good fortune would have it, the lord of the fortress, Bertilac, was home. He eagerly welcomed Gawain inside. "We are honoured and privileged to have such a distinguished knight of the Round Table in our holdings. Come, Sir Gawain, eat with us, stay a few days." Gawain dipped his head, thanking Bertilac for his hospitality. "Thank you, my lord, however, I can only stay for so long. I must find the Green Tower within 4 days." Bertilac boomed heartily. "But my good sir, the Green Tower is but a day's ride away. Stay for 3 days, and ride out on the 4th. Gawain agreed. He needed the rest, and so did his horse. After the meal that evening, Bertilac proposed a game to Gawain. "While you are here, I will offer you anything I require, and you will do the same for me. How about it, Gawain?" He felt that this game was strange, but Gawain agreed. After all, he was a guest and did not wish to insult his host. In the early hours of the morning, Gawain was awoken by Lord Bertilac's wife. She entered the chamber and sat on the bed. "Good morning, Sir Gawain," she said. "I've heard stories of your deeds and courage in the Saxon war. Such bravery deserves a reward." She kissed him on the cheek. Gawain, too stunned to say any more than, "Thank you, my lady," watched as she smiled and left the chamber. Later that afternoon, Gawain met with Sir Bertilac, who offered him a small fox from his hunt. "And what, my good sir, do you have for me in return?" he asked heartily, enjoying the game tremendously. So Gawain kissed Bertilac on the cheek as his wife had done for him. Laughing, Bertilac exclaimed, "I won't ask how you came by that." The next morning, once again Gawain was awoken by Bertilac's wife, and again she gave him a kiss. So, when Bertilac returned from his hunt, again the prize of the hunt and a kiss were exchanged. "Sir Gawain, you are a lucky man to be receiving all these kisses," Bertilac laughed heartily. On the morning of the third day, Gawain was once again woken by Bertilac's wife. She again gave him a kiss and offered him her green sash. "You go to meet the Green Knight tomorrow. Take this with you, and no harm will befall you." Later that afternoon, Gawain once again met Bertilac. Bertilac offered him a squirrel, and Gawain once again gave him a kiss, but did not hand over the sash, fearing that without it he would die. On the morning of the fourth day, Gawain rode out towards the Green Tower, following Lord Bertilac's instructions. He found it, and there waiting for him was the Green Knight, axe in hand. "I am pleased to see that you have honoured your promise, Sir Gawain. It is good that the knights of Camelot have both courage and honour. Now, kneel." Gawain did as he was instructed, and waited for the axe with clenched fists, convinced he was going to die. The Green Knight brought the axe down, and Gawain felt the rush of air. But to his surprise, the axe did not make contact. "What trickery is this?" the Green Knight demanded. "I am permitted but a single blow. That was no blow." Gawain gulped and agreed that a blow would only count if the blade had made contact. Once again, the Green Knight lifted the axe and brought it down, but again he missed. On the third go, the axe made contact, scraping Gawain's skin, but it did not cut off his head. Gawain leapt to his feet with a cry of "Aha! You have had your chance, Green Knight. Now draw your sword and fight!" Booming with laughter, the Green Knight calmly said, "Put away your sword, Gawain. You are in no danger from me." To his surprise, Gawain lowered his sword. "Why? Who are you?" The Green Knight removed his helmet. "Why, I am Bertilac, the very man you have been staying with for the last 3 days." Gawain's jaw dropped. But how can this be?" "Your king's witch half-sister, Morgana, placed a spell on me. Thus I turned into the Green Knight. She sent me to test the bravery of Camelot's knights, and so I offered my challenge, but only you were bold enough to accept. I missed you the first 2 times because you kept your promise to me and gave me the kisses that I had told my wife to give you. I scratched you the 3rd time because although you gave me the kiss, you kept the sash." Gawain looked down, ashamed of himself. "I have been dishonest," he admitted. "I do not deserve my seat at the Round Table, and I did not deserve your hospitality." He knelt once again. "Take my head." Gawain boomed with laughter. "Get up, Sir Gawain. Nobody is perfect, but you have come closer than most. Return to Camelot with pride, for you are almost an perfect knight." When Gawain returned home, everyone was astonished, and when Arthur heard the tale, he decreed that every year on the anniversary of Gawain's return, all knights of the Round Table were to wear a green sash to remember the deeds of Gawain, the almost perfect knight. And thus ends the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this story. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, then please remember to like and subscribe for more lore, myths, legends, and stories. Do leave me your feedback on how you thought the story went. I would love to hear it. Also, if you did hear a different version of the story, again leave that in the comments section, because I'd love to hear it myself. Until next time everyone, remember, knowledge is power.